Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
All right. Hey, it's time for us to get started. And I tell you one thing, I dropped my remote for me to do my clicking. So everybody's going to have to be patient and let me get down here because, you know, I am in a wheelchair. And I'm probably going to get someone to get it for me. But hang in there. Don't go anywhere. Hang in there like a hair in a biscuit. We'll be back in just a second. I can't shut it off or nothing. I got to get my remote. Hold on, buddy. We're on the floor. Put it on my desk. Shut the door behind me. This one.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, don't go anywhere. My mama to the rescue. She made a brief appearance here. So hold on. Let me get my headphones back on. And now, we're here. All right, my mom made a brief appearance, picking up the mouse for me. So thank you, Mom. So one thing, great thing about this, Davis, we can edit all that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So today on our show, okay, we have Davis Bain, and let me get this, chronic pain warrior, post-concussion survivor, and advocate. Again, service member. And thank you again for what you've done. Service, again, it helps people like me with the disability be able to be in this world like everybody else as normal as possible. So I appreciate you providing your service. All right, Davis, thank you for being here. And man, I'm excited to hear this. I'm sorry you went through your post concussions, throwing your world around a little bit, but I'm glad you're able to help other people. And we know when people coming back from military war, things are different. They've seen things we don't see, and so you sharing your journey, your story is going to help other people. and I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Well, thank
All
you
right.
so much for having me, James. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes, sir. All right. But go ahead and jump us into your story where you think it's best for us to be into, and we'll go from there. Thank you again for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. So 3.5 years ago, I was a very active, able, healthy young man who was in my senior year of college. I was approaching graduation and looking forward to a commission in the Space Force. I was in the Air Force ROTC program, so never ended up serving, but I was pursuing that path for 7+ years before I got to this point, and I was excited about that opportunity, was pursuing it. I was a mechanical engineering student, and so I was very busy. I was living kind of a high octane, high ability output. I was stretching myself to my limits almost every day, and I loved my life. And then suddenly, and I was at a training event, I got hit in the head, and about 30 minutes later, started to feel a headache, brain fog. I just didn't feel right. And so I stepped out, and then throughout that day, I just kept getting worse and going downhill health-wise, and I realized that something was very off. I had had concussions prior to this, but I knew that something was different about this particular concussion, where I just felt different. And I can't really explain it aside from I didn't feel like myself. My vision didn't feel right. Like I didn't feel like I could hear things in the same way or see things in the same way. And I'd walk around my apartment and forget what I was doing or where I was going. It just didn't feel like me anymore.
Mentally, you're in a fog, aren't you? I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, you'd be doing something, then you can't remember what you're doing or where you're going. So yeah.
Yeah. So brain fog is, the overall term to describe this, but brain fog can be overused as a term. And so it specifically made me just feel dumb. Like I wasn't myself.
Yeah.
I was in, high octane training, and I was also engineering student. So I was very aware of my own mental capacities. And so when I didn't have those suddenly, it was very jarring for me.
I can imagine so, because again, just losing a part of you, knowing what's going on and stuff like that, and trying to again do an event, and you're going, "What am I doing here?" Yeah, just it's not you, and it's got to be frustrating knowing something's up, but can't pinpoint it at the time.
Yeah, I mean, with anything neurological, the brain is somewhat like a black hole in modern medicine. Like we understand a lot of it, but also we kind of don't. And so,
Oh yeah,
especially when you're talking central nervous system dysregulation and brain issues and nerve issues and sensory motor function issues and all sorts of different like internal body systems, it's really hard because you can't quite pinpoint. It's not like I fell on my knee and now my knee hurts. It's like I don't feel right as a whole. Everything feels different, and I don't feel like myself anymore. It's very scary.
When you were seeking doctors, advice, medical, and you're trying to explain what's going on, I mean, were they catching on about the concussion, or were they saying, "Here, take this pill and come back in 10 days and let's see what happens"?
Yeah, so right away, the day I think that day or the next day of my injury, I went into a doctor, got diagnosed with a concussion, and they were on that right away. But they just tell you the same concussion protocol that they tell everyone else, which is rest, eat well, sleep, don't exacerbate your own symptoms, take it easy. And I followed that framework like to a T as much as I possibly could. I lived as healthily as I possibly could. I rested. I did minimal schoolwork. I did minimal exercise. I tried everything I could do to allow my brain to heal, and it just didn't. And so I think the frustrating thing for me was that when I kept going back to more doctors and more specialists and more treatment attempts, they kept telling me the same thing when it wasn't working.
Yeah. So, see, you're like me. I'm, and I've had 2, 3 other podcast people say this to interviewing them. We should know our bodies better than the doctor, and they should listen to us. Now, shamefully, a lot of people let the doctors tell them what's wrong, and then they're doing their thing. But we should know more what's going on than them. Okay, and they should listen. Sometimes, for whatever reason, they don't.
Yeah, I mean the system as a whole, there's a lot of issues with it. All of these doctors, for the most part, are just trained to go in, make a diagnosis, treatment plan, 15 minutes, they're out of the room. They don't even have the time and capacity to listen. So I'd like to give them some credit to the fact that, they're just in a system that just makes them go, 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 and they don't have time to actually sit and listen. But
That
also,
is
like you're
true.
saying,
That is true. Yeah.
the patient is the expert on their own body. And like, we don't necessarily understand the internal systems and how they all operate. And that's why we have these outside consultants, doctors that we go see. But at the end of the day, they are just that. They're specially trained consultants that are meant to help us with our ongoing issues. And so for me, it was so hard to, be told that there wasn't anything wrong with me, to be told that all my scans and blood work look normal, to be told that I'm a healthy individual and I just need to take pills or just try this treatment that I've tried and hasn't worked, and just, kind of feel dismissed by these experts that are supposed to be there to help me that just weren't.
I was lucky, blessed, however you put it. I don't know my younger doctors, but when I was 11 or 12 years old, went to this one doctor, and I've been with him for 45 years. He retired a couple of years ago, and the guy that's taking over with him is, of course, much younger, but he's pretty good. He's on it. He'll call me on a Saturday night to give me blood drawn, what the blood's showing, and call me on Saturday night, and I go, Doc, you got your family to deal with. This information you give me could have waited till Monday. But I feel so blessed to have him that he thinks that much of his patients, he would take the time to do that. So I got to admit, I'm blessed with the doctors I've had in the past and this one. But I hear horror stories from there. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a rare and incredible blessing. So I appreciate you taking the time to, appreciate and call that out, because he really cares, and that's really cool.
Yeah, again, caught on a Saturday night. Of course, we talk about Tennessee football because he went to school at Tennessee Vols, and so we'll talk football and basketball and stuff like that as well. But still, with the information you gave, you could have called me Monday morning. And so, but I'm blessed that he's that caring and concerning. And so, all right, so back when that movie came out about the football concussions, was it Will Smith playing in it? And they're talking about the CTEs, and NFL at that time denying it, and kind of find out more truth to it than they're. And my brother's he graduated this other guy, and he was a nurse for 36 years. And my brother asked him one time, he said, how many concussions is too many concussions? And he said, one. If you get, especially if you get the big one time, and you're that bad. But the small ones build up to that when that big one hits. But yeah, he said that one concussion is really one too many. So
yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. Any damage to the brain, which regulates almost everything in the body, is going to cause issues. For me, I never had long-term symptoms until this last one, which was the 10th overall concussion. And on this last one, it was a small impact. It wasn't much. But because I had so many before, I think it was like a rock on top of a mountain, a big boulder, and a little gust of wind pushed it and it rolled all the way down. And
finally, yeah.
Just waterfall effects in my body where, I had all sorts of weird allergic reactions I didn't have before, and I couldn't feel hungry or full anymore. I had sensory sensitivity that never went away. I still have brain fog to this day. Like I'm not past my symptoms. I'm not out of it. I've gotten better, but don't get me wrong, I'm still in it. It's a daily fight for me. So,
and how long ago was this?
3.5 years.
Okay. I was going to say, let's put a picture of your book, Chronic Pain Warrior, Davis K. Bain. Okay. And so, trying to look at the subtitle of the body, Practical Help and Everyday Hope for chronic pain, illness, and injury. So, boy, if you just happen to do this, getting your big concussion just 3.5 years ago and got your book out this fast, well, you're a lot better than me. I got my first book out, and it took me 12 years to finally do it.
Wow.
So you really own it, buddy. So.
Well, I feel blessed because I was presented a circumstance where I was half thinking about writing, half not, and then I feel like God presented me a circumstance where I felt like I had to write it, and I had the time and ability and effort, and everything just kind of lined up to be able to write it and write it pretty quickly. So,
Well, and how
it,
many people out there that are going to be suffering chronic pain and they just don't know what to do to get, do their doctor thing. But like you said,
mhm.
how many specialists and doctors give you the same um, healing process, the same remedy. And, rest, don't overexert, drinks plenty of fluid, water, and, drink and sleep and, eat and do the right things. And they do that and then they get frustrated because it still hadn't cured. So this book is going to help other people out there that just doesn't know the next step.
Yeah, my hope is that it's a book from the trenches for people that are in the trenches. What helped me so much was the couple friends that I had that were also really struggling with a chronic issue, that got what it's like, that got what it feels like to feel alone and isolated and like nobody gets it, that understood, what it's like to have real practical needs, money, food, shelter, that I can't provide for myself anymore because of my health issues, not being able to work and such. So I wanted a book that was from the trenches for people in the trenches, that was practical and actually helpful. And so I tried my best to start with a memoir and then go into advice and trying to help other people and discussing very sensitive and difficult to talk about stuff, just because I think it's necessary. And I want to do anything I could to combat isolation for people with chronic pain and chronic health conditions overall.
Good deal. I'm glad. Again, I'm sorry you've been through it, but I'm glad you're doing the next step to help the next person in the future. Not that I'm saying getting a concussion fun or funny. It's not. No way. I wouldn't want. I've had my share of them too, but I wouldn't give it to the next person. But I have somewhat of a funny story that I was coaching a baseball team, and the hind catcher played at the plate, and my boy comes running home, and they collided, and the
Mm-hmm.
catcher apparently had a concussion and finished the game out. After the game was over with, we found out his mother took him to the hospital. Man, he wasn't my player, but I liked the kid and liked his mother. So me and my brother, we went to the hospital to go see and make sure he's all right. And
Mm-hmm.
found out he says I don't remember nothing about the game anymore. I don't. And he finished playing the last 3 or 4 innings. And I
Yeah.
said, and I go, hey, so you don't remember that grand slam you hit? Like that, he didn't hit it, but I was trying to lighten the mood a little bit. I said,
Uh-huh.
he said, what? I hit a, I said, well, no, not really. But if you don't remember, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Like that. But, so no, it's not funny on the um, concussion, but just funny story to help lighten the mood with the kid. So from there, all right, Davis. So as you're going through and seeing these specialists give you the same remedies how to get over this, did you? I'm sure you were doing your own research with the way technology at the on end of our fingertips and trying to read as
Mm-hmm.
much as you can uh, on other people's advice and things like that. So, I mean, did you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I had the capacity, which I didn't often have, but I'd have rare moments of clarity and ability to focus. It was usually at night, like 11 p.m. And I'd sit there on my computer and just, for some reason, my brain was working right for an hour or two. And so I'd sit there and research. I'd look on Facebook groups. I'd look on Reddit. I'd look on, any sort of support group I could find. I'd do research or listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, everything I could possibly find on post-concussion syndrome, recovery, holistic health, gut health, hormone health. I dove into all sorts of health, treatments and kind of all this new regenerative medicine type stuff, holistic health. I got really into it, and I found that some of it was very helpful, and I've implemented it into my life. But a lot of it almost just made me feel shame that I wasn't doing enough, or that I somehow had caused what I was going through because I wasn't doing all these remedies and I wasn't, doing everything I possibly could to maximize my health. Does that make sense? Kind of that feeling of shame?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand that you're doing your part trying to find a better way and whatever you're trying. still not helping or being successful. So now you're feeling guilty that why can't I do this, or am I that bad that this is not working? Oh yeah, I can
Mhm.
understand that. I'm a spinal cord injury. I got my neck broke playing football, and so I was the
Mm.
same way. I've seen somebody else doing a lot better than me in their wheelchair, and I'm going, well, why can't I do that? And of course, as well as I do, all injuries are totally different. I
Mhm.
mean, we have similarities, but overall, it's totally different. Your concussion is different than the other million people that have had theirs, but there's similarities. So
100%.
what's
I
working
like to
for
say
others, yeah, what's working for others doesn't necessarily work for you. What may work for you may not work for the next 500,000. So yeah, I understand what you're
100%.
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, I like to say everyone's experience is one of one, but no one's truly alone because the
exactly.
the general struggle, the pain, the isolation, the difficulty, the shame, there are common components that are, across every sort of debilitating chronic condition that I'm trying to help in this book. But at the end of the day, like everyone's experience is one of one too, and I want to validate that no one knows what it's like to go through what you're going through, you know. Like no one knows what it's like to be you, James. And at the same time, I can probably relate to some aspects of your story based on what I've been through.
Oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, but yeah, all them nerves work a little different and everybody else's, and so he never and I never quite exactly the same, just a lot of similarities. So, so family, mom, dad, wife, girlfriend, how are they at the beginning and how are they now? Have they learned to do things different to help you out?
They haven't. It took a while. They've always been loving, immensely loving, and trying to help me, trying to support me, doing everything they can. And I'll give them credit because their intent has been pure and amazing the whole time. So, mom and dad, brothers, uh, sister-in-law, just friends, and friends broadly, and extended family, grandparents, have all tried to be supportive. What I found is that a lot of their attempts to support based on an immense amount of love for me were actually things that were kind of hurtful for me. They would do things that would trigger symptoms, that would take over all responsibilities for me and just make me feel like I had no autonomy over my life anymore. They would um, ju- they wouldn't ask how I was doing really. They would try and kind of create this narrative in their head that I was doing well, and they would kind of live in this illusion that I was doing better than I was, because I think it was painful to see me suffer, and they didn't want me to suffer anymore. And so they'd take any kernel of hope or kernel of truth and twisted it subconsciously in their minds to pretend I was doing better than I was. And they'd ask, short, like questions that wouldn't allow me the time and space to really talk about how I was doing. And so all these things, were a little bit. And another thing is they'd bring me to events or invite me to things or host things that would cause symptoms. They'd be playing loud music while the TV was on, while we were having dinner, trying to have a conversation. It was overstimulating. And so all these things, like I eventually, after a long time of isolating and drawing away and pretending that, I wasn't have an issue with this stuff, and isolating myself, which was a huge mistake, I eventually learned that I can't do that anymore, and that I needed to have some real hard conversations with them about what I need, what my symptoms are, and what makes them worse, and how they can best support me. And so, in time, with a lot of hard conversations, a lot of hard work on both parts, I've immensely grown in my relationship to my friends and family, and they have been immensely supportive for me in both practical, real needs, and also just being there for me mentally, emotionally as well.
People don't know how to help if they don't know how to help. And so that's
Exactly.
why, you, me, whoever going through whatever have to be able to openly, honestly be able to convey to them what I need to help me. And if you can help, cool. If you can't, that's cool too. I mean, it's not no one's fault. Whatever they can do, can do. And so, but the main thing is got to be open, honest, and rarely, and I say rarely, whatever you're going through it by yourself. You have your
Hmm.
family that's in the midst of it. I mean, when I got paralyzed, my whole family was paralyzed with me, because
Hmm.
they've had to go through all this for 40 years, 40, almost 42 years, 43 years this year. And so, same thing with you. They've had to go through this concussion with you. and learn what's best for you and what their part is to help you.
Yeah, everyone, friends and family have a very important role to play, and they have an immense opportunity to show immense love, support, and practical help to their loved one who's in need. But they also have the opportunity and ability to hurt because this person's vulnerable and they're hurting and they're struggling. And so I think it's a high responsibility. It's an immense opportunity to help, and something that should be taken very seriously.
I was an athlete in high school, and I was 2 weeks into college when I got hurt. And I remember the social worker telling my mom when I was in the hospital and says, when we're done and over with and we're home and everything, she says he'll be lucky to have 5 people, friends, not family, 5 friends that he was in high school with that'd be there with him to help him if he needs it. And I'm going, you're crazy. There'd be a lot of people. Nope, she's right. And so have you experienced some friendships fall out? And I'm not mad about it. If they can't deal with it, I prefer them not being here and them getting frustrated with everything. Let them go have the best life possible. But so if you experience some friends just can't deal with it, and they may not say it to you, but they just slowly wean themselves out of your life.
I have, and it's hard because it's never a super fast process. They're never like, "Hey, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore." They don't tell you.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather have that, but it's just kind of slowly. Like they don't respond to your texts, they don't respond to your calls, they don't want to hang out and do stuff. They want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to adapt it for my needs. And I experience a lot of friends that I mean, even friends that wanted to help that just didn't know what to do, so they kind of just pulled away subconsciously. And I'm not mad at them. I don't hold anger. I've forgiven the hurtful, experiences and moments. But at the same time, it was really hard to kind of slowly see my friends pull away, my relationships get strained. I mean, any sort of chronic health condition, any sort of honestly immense challenge in someone's life is going to cause strain relationally. And it's what both parties do to respond to that strain that really matters. Is there effort put in to meet the occasion on both ends? And oftentimes there was effort on my end, but there wasn't on others' ends. And that was really hard. But at the same time, I think back to the friends who have been truly there for me, who have helped provide for real needs, who have helped me and just been there for me, who have provided me a place to stay when I didn't have one, or showing me immense love by cooking a meal for me or taking me out to do something fun that I can actually do or listen to me, and I just have immense gratitude for all those people.
Amen, brother. Anybody out there want to help me? Just give me a banana split at the moment, and we'll be in good shape. So from
I
there,
like that.
yeah, but it's a two-part. I'm gonna say problem, double-edged sword. A lot of them they may want to help. Again, they don't know what to do to help, and so they don't want to hurt your feelings by saying, "I can't deal with this. I can't handle it. I don't know." So that's why they slowly go instead of just telling you. I think they just don't want to hurt the feelings. So, and I'm like you. I I much prefer y'all just being honest with me, tell me, and then we can just go about it. Than me having to wonder for 4 months, are we still friends or not? Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, is this person okay? It's
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
exactly. Are they okay? Or they got something going on? Or why aren't they? Yeah. Are they sick? Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're wondering the worst for them too.
yeah. I've seen a lot of friends and family that desperately do want to help. Like they have immense love and they want to help. But a lot of times they just don't even know where to start because they don't understand it. And so they just kind of back off and sit on the sidelines and, hope and pray that I get better and feel good and all these blessings on me. But they aren't willing to really go in there and ask about practical needs and put themselves out there to try and help. And so when people have done that, it's been immensely helpful. And for those people specifically, I wrote 2 chapters in the book that are just trying to help people know what they can do and how to help if they're feeling helpless. Both,
This book here, Chronic
yeah, that
Pain
book here.
Warrior. This book here. Okay.
Yeah. There's one chapter called Dear Loved Ones, How to Help. And then there's another chapter called Dear Loved Ones, What to Avoid. So it's both what
Oh,
to
okay,
do and
good.
what not
Yeah.
to do to try and help. And they're universal. They're not specific per condition. So what someone could do to help you is different than what someone could do to help me, right? Because we got different things
Exactly.
going on. But the universal tips are just sit there and listen. I mean, I could run you through a list, but I tried to offer about 10 things that I would need to hear as a loved one of someone who's chronically suffering to help me. And so I hope it's helpful for other people in knowing how to support.
So 3.5 years into this, you're still relatively new. I'm sure you're still trying to figure things out. What's good, bad. Still trying to figure out what's going on. So, what are you doing now to try to get this? Are you still seeing specialists? Getting new? I'm sure you're probably still researching as much as you can. But what are you doing now to try to make a difference?
Yeah, so I try and just do what I can. And a lot of the times it's felt like it's either made me worse or hasn't moved the needle at all and put me in a tough financial position. So I carry some hesitation over trying new treatments just because I've tried over and over and over and over and over again, and it hasn't got me anywhere. It hasn't moved the needle at all, or it's moved the needle backwards, and it's really hard. And I almost have this traumatic response to going to see a doctor now because I feel so dismissed by so many different practitioners.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel very blessed because I recently got a job at a neurofeedback clinic. And neurofeedback is a form of biofeedback where you're training the brain to work in optimal ways. And so I think with concussion, your brain ends up working in non-optimal and really energy inefficient ways where you have one area of the brain that's doing tasks that's meant for the other area of the brain that has damage, and you have neuron and axon damage that's prohibiting your brain and central nervous system from working correctly or properly. I get really overstimulated very easily. I can't really exercise, like all sorts of symptoms that are associated with that. And so neurofeedback has actually been super helpful for me so far. Now, I want to say that I've had a lot of helpful treatments, quote unquote, that were helpful for about 2 weeks. And then I went back to where I was and never had long-term progress. So I'm not going to say neurofeedback is going to be the thing that fixes me, but I'll say that I'm seeing good results right now. And I'm not going to hold that. I'm going to hold that very loosely, but I'm excited about neurofeedback. It's been really helpful so far. And aside from that, I got really into gut health and diet. And so I eat a very protein and fat heavy, almost Mediterranean diet, gluten-free, dairy-free, low sugar. And that diet has been the thing that has made me feel so much better on a day-to-day basis, especially with mental health. Like I don't feel nearly as depressed or anxious anymore. I feel a lot more like myself, even though the symptoms are still bad. That'd be the biggest thing that I recommend for someone going through a chronic issue is focus on diet, focus on gut health, try and get that stuff right because it can have profound effects on the body and the mind.
Now, would you say it was neuro what? You said
neurofeedback.
Feedback, okay, because I was going to say back in 1988, I participated in the spinal cord research in Miami project with Mark Montacani, and with his dad, he started and everything. But but what I did, like you mentioned, it was just called then biofeedback, and they were trying to retrain the triceps to work, and it was doing like I said, the electrons hooked to the bicep, and you're looking on the screen to try to get I don't know, I can't remember now, but get the yellow line to go up. So you're concentrating, but where the blue line would be, you overcompensating, and you try to keep that down. And so, but I participated. That was 1988 in the Miami project, and of course then it was just called biofeedback. Now all these new terms come around. So
yeah, I think it's the same thing, really, because we'll have like a spaceship in a tunnel, and you're trying to make the spaceship go faster, and collect more of these, coins it's trying to get. And
oh, see,
we'll have people.
You got games. And all we had was a line go up and keep a line down. Yeah, you got games. We didn't have games.
Yeah. We got games, and we got a lot of people just watch Netflix, and we'll put on a dimmer, so the screen will get dimmer and brighter as a reward, and you'll hear these tones like dings and ticks and cricket sounds and all sorts of stuff to kind of reward the brain and help train it.
I can see what's going on today using, like I said, the rocket ship or the Netflix, whatever, to keep the younger kids more motivated to stay with it. Just looking at a line going up and down won't tell them anything, but how I can get the rocket to go faster or into a hole and direct it and changing things. Yep, I can see that where to be more benefit. And plus, as an adult, I'd much prefer doing that than watching a line go up and one down. And even though it worked back then. But yeah, I would want things a little bit different. So technology is great when it's
It is.
working.
And I think the electrical side of things, actual training, is probably very similar to when you did it, because for a while they stopped doing electrical health stuff, like for almost 20 years or so, based on government funding and research studies and all that stuff. So all this promising electrical research from the 70s and 80s kind of stopped. And then recently it's all gotten very popular again. So neurofeedback's kind of exploded.
Okay, I didn't know that. Hadn't done any research like that in a while. I got a friend. I interviewed him on, but he goes by the Angry Quad. That is what he goes by. But he does a lot of research whenever he can. But again, hopefully he benefits. But the research has helped for the people in the future. And so, but yeah, hopefully he gets to benefit a little bit from it. But it's for the benefit of the others. So
Yeah.
all right.
That's cool.
Yeah, he does a lot of. He gets into a lot of things with that. Sadly, I don't. So I just do my part now. So I'm too old for all that. Let the young people
do what
enjoy
I
it.
can, you know.
Yeah, let the young people have all the fun. So, all right, Davis, man, I appreciate you being here and sharing. Again, I'm sorry you went through what you went through, but I'm glad you're able to share your journey, your story, and getting your book out. Again, the book is, let me get this clicker here, The Chronic Pain Warrior, Practical Help and Everyday Hope for Chronic Pain, Illness, and Injury. So appreciate you doing this to help other people in the future from there. All right. You have any other
Well, thank you
questions
for
at the
having
moment?
me.
Oh, no, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. So if it wasn't for you being here, they'd have to listen to me all the time. So they get tired of me. So I'm glad you're here. Well, if you want to go ahead and share social media, how people can get a hold of you, where they can get your book.
Yeah, with the one-stop shop is my website, chronicpainwarrior.com. That has a contact form, my email, places to buy the book, and very soon it'll have helpful resources for people, kind of patient advocacy resources. So when you go to the doctor, you have a checklist of things you need to mentally prepare for, so that you go in and you're not overwhelmed, you don't get set back, so you actually feel prepared, to go into that doctor appointment with confidence and advocate for yourself, or bring someone with you that can advocate for you.
That's it. You definitely got to have somebody on your side to help you. From I don't care who you are. You need to have someone you can depend that's going to voice concerns in case you forget, or you don't think that ought to be brought up, but they think it is. So you definitely need an advocate. So, all right,
Yeah.
Davis,
The one-stop shop's chronicpainwarrior.com.
I'll put that in the show notes as well to make it easier for people to find and go from there. So, hey, man, we know that people are hurting and struggling today, and if you can leave us with a powerful message, that'd be a blessing.
Absolutely. So I'll share a quote from the end of my book. This is kind of how the book wraps up. That's an excerpt from chapter 4. It says, "The best adventures happen when faced with tremendous challenges and uncertainty. The adventurers don't know how they will get through it, but they embrace the opportunity before them anyway. They strap on their boots and start walking without a full plan. Every day for a chronic pain warrior is an adventure, a challenge in the truest sense. If my suffering and pain were to be relieved, daily life wouldn't be nearly as much of an adventure. While I would much prefer to be healed right this instant, I am grateful for the adventure along the way." And I hope that's an encouragement to you out there who are struggling. You're not alone. Your experience is one of one, but you are not alone. And you are loved, even if from a distance, from a couple of podcasters.
Amen, brother. Yeah, what you're going through may not be the best thing you ever wanted in life and everything, but try to make it the best experience and make your life as best as possible. Don't be the poor, pitiful me. I did that for the first 4 or 5 years of my injury. Poor, pitiful me. So don't do that. Does you no good. Try to make the best of the situation and have the best life possible.
Amen.
So, all right, Davis Bain, thank you for being here. And we may even come back and grab you another day and do another podcast here in a couple of months. just to see how things are going with you. So everybody else, be
Be a
sure
lot
to
of
share
fun.
us out with someone. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just said that'd be a lot of fun. Had a great time
There.
today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Everybody else, share us out with someone you know that could use a little bit of pick me up and little advice. I'm Dr. James Purdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.